Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, a Reckless Amoeba podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Falinger.
I just procured this nice bush over here. It's quite beautiful to live in.
What's that even mean?
The bush homo. Oh my god, I just forgot about him.
I mean, it even grows berries in the summer. It's beautiful, and it provides sustenance.
Haha! And also with us, Uri Stokely.
Ahoy hoy!
So, Brandon, I think you might find this interesting.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear one of your favorite games is getting an anime adaptation?
I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like I should know, and I feel like I maybe heard it, but I'm not 100% sure which one it is.
Near Automata.
I don't know if I like this.
Oh, really? That they're making that into an anime?
I don't understand why. Because the
Uh,
game exists. So what are you, like... Unless it's some kind of spin-off, why are you... And honestly, I don't think Taro would ever do it again. He'd want to make it different.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just saw, like, a teaser trailer has been announced.
I don't know. He's never doubled up stuff like this, right? I forget if we got to it in our playthrough or not yet, but there's an entire thing that is a Yorha stage play that is meant to be like A2's background.
Oh.
And that's just in the game as a text document to read. Like I said, I forget if we did that or not. Like, I read that through or not. But, like, that's the closest thing he's gotten to, like, doing a thing again. I don't see him doing, like, doubling up. So whatever it is, it's got to be different. And if it's not, why the fuck does it exist? Just play the game.
I don't know. It's just probably, like, a 30-second teaser trailer, like, hey, Nier Automata animation project coming next year or something.
I'm curious, but I'm very wary.
Yeah, because, like, when they have announcement trailers, like, the anime is just, like, entering production, which means it may not be done for, like, a year and a half, maybe. Right?
Well, and on top of that, there's been plenty of recent games to anime or animation, I should say at least, things that have not gone well.
Oh.
Like, I love Dragon's Dogma. The Dragon's Dogma anime is shit.
I forgot they did. Like, I got that game and I played it for like maybe an hour, but I honestly thought it was an anime before the game.
Nope.
And I never watched the anime or anything.
Nope. I want to say the anime came out last year. It was not good. Was not well received. I like Dragon's Dogma. It's a fun game, but it's the story is not the fun part. The story is kind of bog standard. The interesting part is all the mechanics and how the shit works. Like, the fun part is the combat. The fun part is seeing other people's pawns. And by pawn, I mean, like, you create an NPC companion who can jump over and help other people in their worlds and bring you back rewards for doing so.
Okay.
But yeah, you get to see and recruit other people's pawns. That's fun. You get to see other people's builds. That's fun. The story is really basic. It's not anything to make a show out of.
And I forget, in that character, do you even talk? Like, I forget.
It
You
has
just,
been
like-
a while since I played the game, so I'm not sure. I don't think you're voiced, no.
Okay.
Outside of grunts and stuff.
Yeah.
I think you're like a Skyrim silent protagonist.
Gotcha.
But they can turn silent protagonists into animated talking protagonists.
Yeah, but that's not the problem. The problem is the story written around the character. It's dragon came down, done a bad thing, wrecked your village, go get dragon.
Because I was going to say, in the Persona animations, doesn't the protagonist or main protagonist have an occasional line?
Oh yeah, no, the Persona protagonists definitely have lines in combat, especially because like they call out the Persona names that they bring up.
Oh,
But like they're not fully voiced. It's only in combat voices. And even then, it's just some of the basic stuff.
okay,
Um,
because I thought like the lead protagonist of all the Persona games didn't really have much to say.
he does well. I mean, does multiple choice options of what to do slash say count, even if they're not voiced?
I mean, compared to all the other dialogue the other people in the game have, like the main character has the least to say. I thought that's what you were saying.
I mean, yes and no. It depends. Like I said, they give you a general idea, like when you get a multiple choice option of what you're saying, um, and the character will go through the gestures, but there's not really a voiced line or anything like
Ah,
that. It's like, hey, you know this thing. Do you tell them or do you lie about it? And it's like, okay, I guess I can just pretend either A, I know all this shit and I tell them, or B, I lie about it and I just make up a lie in my head as to what was said. But again, there's no voice line for that. That's just your multiple choice. Which option do you go with?
okay.
But no, the problem with Dragon's Dogma is just the story around it, like around the character, is boring and standard. Don't get me wrong, the end game has some interesting ass twists, but everything in between is just, hey, the dragon fucking destroyed your village. Go get the dragon. Go get your vengeance. Essentially. So, take your pick. It's a boring ass plot until the ending.
So you're hoping that the Near Automata anime adaptation will be better than the Dragon's Dogma anime adaptation.
I'm hoping it's something completely different. Like I said, Yoko Taro doesn't do things twice. Or at
I
least he doesn't do them in the same way twice.
so I'd be interested to see how it plays out.
Assuming that he's got any control over it. Like 99% of the time he does. If he doesn't, I'm worried about it.
Hmm. So we'll maybe be updating this in like a year.
We'll see.
Anything going on with you guys?
Trying to think. I
Nah,
mean,
besides Lost Ark.
I picked up Project Zomboid, which I bought during the winter sale.
I, dude,
I've been fucking around
uh,
with that a little bit the last hour or so.
I don't like that game.
What specifically don't you like?
Uh, Literally, you're like spending the whole time walking backwards, trying not to get killed by zombies. Like, I don't know if it was the map I
Like,
played, but it was like I couldn't do anything without being chased,
mhm.
and it just wasn't fun. Like I was just being attacked the entire time. I didn't have time to like loot much. And yeah, I guess you have to play it long enough to where like you can manipulate. Like I watched my nephew play it,
Mhm.
and
I
he
mean,
can.
when was this? Because this thing's been updated for
Oh, it was
quite a
like
bit.
last week.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
last week. Okay.
yeah, like last week or the other week before that. But like I
Okay.
watched my nephew play, and he can just like pull like 40 zombies, and then literally just melee them with his fists, knock them down, stomp them, and just put like somehow stomp 40 zombie heads while they're all chasing him, and he's perfectly fine. And then
That also depends on the difficulty mode he's set up too.
yeah, well he's like he plays on like the hardest difficulty,
Okay.
and then like I've tried to play, and it was like yeah, I was trying to find him because we were doing the multiplayer,
Oh.
and which would have been pretty cool. Like I like the survival at like trying to find stuff in the houses and stuff and
Yeah.
whatnot, but I guess you have to play it long enough. Like, yeah, I guess once you learn how the game mechanics really work.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm messing around with it for now. We'll see how long it keeps my interest.
It's very like you can literally do anything in that game. It's pretty
Mhm.
crazy.
And I'll see about maybe moving on, or maybe actually, you know what? Maybe tomorrow I'll play Pathfinder, the Kingmaker one.
Oh yeah,
I've been meaning to get into it, and I either haven't or I've been putting it off. Actually, the other thing I've been
yeah.
doing, remember the whole
Oh,
sorry, you have anything else to add in there, Ryan?
no, it
Gotta
was
cut you
just
off.
that other game that came out, um the D&D, almost like the D&D game, but it wasn't. It was like I want to say like Solana or something like that, or
Oh yeah. That thing's on my
something like
it's
that.
on my wish list. What was it called?
But it was kind of similar to the Pathfinder game, but it was like more D&D,
I think that
like
one's
pretty
more
much like
turn
verbatim.
based rather than
Somehow they were able to finagle having D&D characters in the game.
Hmm.
mhm. Yeah, I think that's
But
turn
yeah,
based,
sorry.
whereas the other one is
Oh no.
action. Solasta. That was the one, right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, no, I yeah.
Yeah, Solana is a crypto. I gotta.
um Actually, here's the other thing. So remember the whole thing about me making a Dan hunter and hunting down a Dan during these guys' names Dan during their Dark Souls 3 thing, right?
Yes, you mentioned it before.
So in between the times of the Dark Souls 3 being down, as well as like he started up a secondary playthrough as well of another game. I believe I mentioned it to you, Brandon. He started up a Nier Automata playthrough.
Ooh.
So what I decided to do was to be a little fucker and create Dan Automata as a character, make it look somewhat like 2B, and now the only thing that she wields is dual weapons. So right now I've got a set of dual wielding katanas on her as well as dual wielding spears, and I'm currently making my way through the game. I'm nearly caught up to where they cut out due to the server shutting down.
Hmm.
But yes, I've been having fun dual wielding because I've never really used the dual spears before. It's actually kind of interesting to try and figure that out. One thing I'm learning is don't get so fucking close to the edges because if you're using the dual wield attacks, it pushes you forward really quickly and throws you off at the edges.
While you're like mid combo.
Yes, because like you'll
Okay.
press a button or two and you'll go through the combo and you step forward during the combo. If you're pushing an enemy off an edge with your attacks or something like that,
Hmm.
you might just go with it because you've stepped too far with those combos,
Damn.
um, which sucks. As for the katanas, I've messed around with those before in another build. That wasn't a main weapon, but it was one I've messed around with. They're fun. They're useful. Your special attack is literally jumping in the air and X slashing them as you fall back down.
Classic.
So yeah, that's been going fine. I've been enjoying playing that character. So that'll be another one I have built up.
Yeah, and maybe we could show off the dual spears when we get back into the endings that we still need to do.
Right. Yep. That's got to happen at some point.
Yeah, maybe after we finish Disco Elysium and before Elden Ring, or
Yeah, probably
Okay.
there. I've got a few things I think left. There are actually weapons that we don't have that never I don't think I've ever gotten before.
huh?
Some of them are quest related.
Interesting.
So I'll have to pop those up for us. At the very least, with the chapter selected, should be easy enough to get to where we need to go. And with our level being fucking berserk right now, because I think we're in the 80s at this point. I haven't maxed us out yet.
Ooh, that would be nice. Okay, Ryans, today's anime is not an anime. It's a
What?
Western cartoon.
Heavily inspired by anime.
Yep. Legend of Korra.
Man,
You sound.
I never,
You sound
I've never
disappointed.
seen it. Yeah, I never seen it, but like, I've been at a like dinner table, and instead of like, it would be like 4 people, and the 3 people watch like Avatar, and then like this, and it's just me sitting there
So lost.
listening to them talk about it,
Man, that sounds like us right
and
now.
yeah, I don't, yeah, you have to really sell me.
Did you at Did you at all watch the original after we talked about the first, well, the only 3 seasons?
I've seen a bit of it, only if like they were streaming it on Discord or something.
Uh, Korra
Yeah,
is it's
not a fan.
it's like when I watched the first episode, my thought was, how the hell is this the same universe?
That was me back when I first watched it.
Now, is Legend of Korra like one of the kids or something, or what is it?
No,
The other
so
character it follows or something?
if you're not recalling, Legend the Avatar is set up where when the Avatar dies, he gets reincarnated as another person.
Oh, okay.
This is the person that follows after Aang from Last Airbender died. This is the person he's reincarnated as.
Okay.
And I should also point out we're suddenly in the 20s with this one.
Like the 1920s?
May as well be. It's heavily modeled after it.
Huh.
Which brings in my first gripe, which is just I feel like you've dropped some of the originality by so heavily using the 1920s as an inspiration.
Yeah, when did the original take place? I thought that was like, I guess there was steampunk stuff in there, right?
There was a bit of steampunk stuff, but that's kind of why I'm disappointed that that's the way we went forward with it. Was
Yeah.
we went into the 1920s and much more conventional stuff that we would recognize
Yeah.
versus
So-
being more original with your designs and technology.
Yeah, something more like fantastical, like
Yeah.
Zeppelin, like a bunch of like Zeppelin
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
yeah.
something.
I mean, there were Zeppelins in this. However, they just looked too much like regular Zeppelins
Okay.
for my liking. Like they
Not
didn't.
enough cool gunship things or whatever. And
Yeah, not enough steampunky looking. It looked too
Yeah.
modern for my liking in the way.
It's just a Goodyear blimp.
You know, you're not that far off.
Yeah.
I mean, there's fucking 1920s Model Ts, man.
Oh.
Just
Oh man, they have
walking around.
cars.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Oh yeah.
When the original took place, well, in maybe the equivalent of like the 17 1800s Asia, with like
Mhm.
all the pagodas and small tribes and stuff like that, it just feels like such a drastic difference, even though it was only maybe like 50 years anime. I mean, like, timeline wise, between Korra and the final season of Avatar.
Mm. I don't know the exact amount of time, but it's somewhere between 50 and 100 years, I want to say, between the end of the original series and the start of this one. Yeah, one of my bigger not my bigger ones, but one of my nitpicks at this thing is definitely that I feel like rather than just heavily modeling after the 1920s, you could have been a bit more original in the style and the way things evolved technologically. Like one of the things that you see is people lightning bending, and that's just how they make electricity now, I guess.
Okay.
And I'm just like, why? That's
Yeah.
kind of dumb. Why not be more original with how that's done? Like they're just shooting
Yeah.
lightning into like what looks like a giant generator or something.
It's solved by magic. Any
Mhm.
kind of like loop or
Well, I have other issues. I have other nitpicks. I have one big one I'll get to at the end.
And I found like the amount of like politics in this was more than distracting.
I mean, keep in mind, I think this came out in 2014. I want to say.
Maybe.
Let me see here. Curious now.
I thought it was earlier than that.
Might have been 20. No, I was watching it in college, so I think 2014 would have been right.
2012.
Okay, so it was weird. Okay, I could have sworn it was 2014. All right, that would have been the very start of college then. Okay, no, that makes sense. All right, so yeah, 2012. So the sad part is the main part is applicable even now, because a lot of the politics in this is just straight up a certain sector of people being oppressed and trying to rise up.
Okay.
In this case, benders versus non-benders, which, wasn't ever something that was touched on in the original, really. I can't remember a specific episode or anything that stuck to that other than
Yeah, I kind of just assumed everyone had a
no,
different power. There wasn't many regular
nope, there were
humans
plenty
or
of normal
whatever.
people.
Yeah,
There were
yeah.
plenty of normal people around.
Hmm.
So we start off with meeting our new avatar, Korra, who literally controls all of the elements except for air. She's just like a 6-year-old kid running around throwing off fire, water, and earth.
I'm the Avatar! Hey!
I am the Avatar. It's like the White Lotus guys come in. They're just like, yeah, we've heard a lot of claims of this. How do we know this one's different? And it's like, welp, come on out, kid.
And it is 70 years after
Hey, there you go.
the end of the 100-Year War. So I was a few years under.
So Aang was at most, because we don't know how long the reincarnation process takes. Aang was at most 82 or 83 when he died.
Damn.
Wait, that would be 57. Aang was.
He was 12 or 13 by the end of the first season, or by the final season.
So it says 57 years after the 100 Years War, the White Lotus appears in the Southern Water Tribe.
You just told me it was 80
No,
or 70 years.
no, but then 14 years later.
Oh, right, because there's that quick time skip of like Korra jumping through like all the training hoops between
Yeah.
being discovered and then the actual time that the series takes place.
So Aang might have been like late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. So yeah, there's training. There's like, okay, cool, you've gotten all of them. Time to bring in the new airman who's going to teach you the airbending. Which, woo, it's Aang's kid, Tenzin.
Okay.
Yeah, I think having J.K. Simmons as his voice actor was a good choice.
I like Tenzin. The voice acting was done very well. The character's really good. I like him.
Yeah, I think like a few of the voice selections in here were pretty smart choices.
There's one I really hate.
And I'm not too sure if it's the same one that you think, but there is one that I'm like, why? Why did you make this selection?
I can almost guarantee if that's what you're asking, it's the same one that I'm thinking of. You liked the first one, didn't you? Look at this! I feel like there's a lot of that in here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, hey, you liked that first series, right? Well, here's some more!
Yeah.
And by some more, I mean blatant pandering. So, Tenzin comes in, basically is like, hey, look, I gotta take care of this city that I'm part of the council of, which is basically like Avatar New York, essentially? Avatar New York City?
That's the best way to describe it.
It's also a place where like a bunch of shit has just come together into like some hodgepodge mess of like technology and shit. Now, granted, you'd never know it by looking at season 1 and 2 because everything takes place in that city for the most part.
Yeah.
3 and 4, you finally leave and realize, oh hey, things aren't this everywhere. And I only know that from hearing from other people. I jumped off the train at season 2 because of the way things happened in that, and in the way that they started changing the actual way they aired it. Because I believe in part of season 3, it jumped to being on online on the website fully rather than being aired on TV.
Yes.
And between that and the way that season 2 ended, I was just not interested.
And season 4 was Nick.com exclusive.
Yep, which means you never knew when a new
Really?
episode would come out. I should also point out, season 2 was also really scattershot on when it released.
Really?
It was either, yeah, it was season 2. It was scattershot on when it released. They were not week to week. It got broken up near the end a lot. Because like I said, that happened before I cut out.
Yeah, it seems, looking at the Wikipedia for it, they had some weeks with double episodes,
Mm-hmm.
especially near
That's
the
weird.
end.
Yeah, the release schedule was very wonky, and it made it hard to follow.
Yeah, it's like 14 episodes over 2 months. That's kind of messy.
Yeah, it was not fun to try and follow it at that point. So getting back to the main story, Tenzin says, "Hey, I got to do the city thing. I can't be your handwriting teacher right now. We'll have to wait on it for a while, maybe a few months, maybe a year."
No, I want to learn airbending now!
Nope, gotta be patient. Tenzin leaves, and in the meantime, Korra's like, "Hey guys, gotta run. Gonna hop on this thing and just, stow away my way into this new place called Republic City."
With her polar bear dog.
Yep.
And yes, they keep the trend of mashing 2 animals together.
Yep.
What were like other animals they mashed together? And that
Penguin seals were one.
Ew. Okay.
And wasn't there like
fire? Actually, no.
Spider monkeys.
There's a fire ferret, and that's not a mix. That's just straight up a ferret.
And wasn't there a joke in the original Avatar with like, oh, come see my elephant. Elephant what? Just an elephant.
It was a bear.
Oh no! Oh yes, and like it's like a bear. Oh, just a bear is boring.
Yeah. But it's also extremely rare, it seems like, because everything's just a fucking fusion.
Yes.
I mean, there are some original ones, like the sky bison. Like,
Yeah.
that's an original thing. That's not even, like, a fusion or anything.
So
Or, like, the lemur, like the sky lemurs, too, were an original thing.
So
Sky
Ryan,
lemurs?
what is your favorite anime trope? Is it the big battle? Is it the tournament arc?
Tournament arc is my favorite.
Because
For
we
anime
have a
anime.
tournament arc within the first 6 episodes.
Oh, cool.
Kind
That
of,
got my attention.
kind of, yes, no. You have 6 episodes, so it's pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, it's on a whole season.
No,
No,
It's not like Cell
sadly.
Saga.
Nope.
Dumb.
it's like we're having this tournament arc to introduce these characters.
Here's the other bit, right? We don't even really meet any of the other combatants that they face, other than the last ones who are the reigning champions for the last 3 years.
Mhm.
You never see any of the others, other than like the one time when they're getting brought up to the stage. You get to see what they look like, and that's about it.
That's the only time that like
Yep, that's about it.
they're never
It's-
mentioned again.
Nope,
Nope.
Oh,
it's not a good tournament arc if that's what you're looking for.
yeah.
I'm sorry to unsell you on this. I should also point out that part of the reason it's like this is they only got 1 season when they were originally making this.
Really?
Oh.
They're like, you get 1 season. That's it.
Oh.
So they're kind of planning on.
They're
not
planning
doing-
on the only 12 episodes they got are it.
Oh damn.
And then at the end of that, they're like, well, I guess we'll give you a 2nd season. And then they're like, all right,
That's why
these are
it's
episodes.
like that.
These are our episodes. Got to figure out what we're doing. And then I believe after season 2, they were given 2 more. They actually managed to get 2 straight in a row, which is probably why most people think season 3 and 4 are best.
Yeah, that explains a lot on the pacing of this.
Yeah, they were only given 1 season to start with, so they were planning to let it live and die as it was,
Damn.
because that's all they had.
Wait, how many seasons did the first
First one had 3 full seasons.
How many
And they were
episodes
3
was that?
seasons, about 24, I want to say.
n-
20, 24?
it,
The Last Airbender had 24 episodes?
no, it
Each
was
season.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
20 each one.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. 20 each one. Whereas this one is, I think, like 12 and or 11, depending on what season we're looking at.
12, 14, 13, and 13.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So overall, still less than House Airbender. And because of the way it was doled out to them, they had no idea or any way to plan ahead. They had to sit there and be like, we got 12 episodes. Fuck, how do we do this?
So I'm guessing because of that, each season has a villain that's not quite connected to the previous season.
Until 3 and 4, I think.
Oh.
But 1 and 2 for sure are just, here's your villain, hope it works out.
Are the villains like trying to take over the world, or is it like trying to siphon power or something like that?
I will reserve my
Benders.
speech on season 2, partly because I want to rewatch it before I even comment on it. Because I don't remember some of the specifics because it's been so long.
Okay.
Season 1, not quite take over the world. No.
More like the non-benders are being oppressed by the benders, so I will create an uprising, and I will use my ability that I have to take away people's bending
Let's
permanently.
just say it's a purge. You could argue it is a genocidal purge.
Damn. It's
Without
like the
being
opposite
an
of the
yeah.
X-Men.
Yeah.
A PG genocidal purge.
Yes, it has to be PG. We can't do anything else. But I mean, look, let's put it this way, all right? Let's take the classic version that everyone would be aware of, which is skin color, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you take all the white people and are like, you're all fucked. We gonna turn you black now.
Okay.
Or vice versa, depending on how you want to look at it. But yeah, that is essentially what is being done. It is like an instant, you're being converted to one of us.
Okay.
And every time you see somebody that has had this happen to them, it literally looks like they have lost something. Like they are drained. Like it's portrayed very well that like the people that have had this happen to them look like they're just wandering around dead to the world.
They have lost the will to live now that they have lost their elemental abilities.
I wouldn't even say lost their will to live so much as like you've lost your purpose, right? Like imagine a skill that you're really good at suddenly just gets taken away from you.
Yeah, and then you have to
Or like something that identifies you as you.
Yeah. Then you have to like go become a mechanic or something.
Right.
Or whatever.
And we've also got to learn how to cope without that thing, right?
Yeah.
Hell, it's like, fuck it, let's take an extreme scenario of this. Let's just say you're walking along, have a sudden accident, and now you can't walk anymore. Like you've lost your legs.
Yeah.
It'd be that kind of level of just, fuck, now what?
Yeah.
That level of potential depression, potential issues.
I'd get into wheelchair basketball or something.
That seems fun.
It sure does, dude.
So yeah, Korra gets into the city. We have good old times in the city of just, I'm breaking the laws because I don't know the laws. I can't buy food because I have no money. I'll go fish in the park. Policeman shows up. You're not allowed to fish in the park. You're gonna get under arrest. Big old chase scene. All of a sudden, you get the actual, like, I want to call them enforcers, I guess. Even though I know that's not the technical term. I guess you could call them, like, the riot police at that point. Who are metal benders. More people have learned how to metal bend.
So they're just Bender.
Yeah, like...
They're just Bender the robot.
No.
Oh, even more interesting. This is one of the fun things I like. They all have suits of armor, and they have fucking Spider-Man whips.
Oh, that's cool. That they control with their minds?
Well, with their bending, yes.
And the lead one is Toph's daughter.
Granddaughter.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's No, it might be her daughter. Because she and Tenzin had a thing for a while, so maybe. I'm trying to remember, because the one character we meet is Zuko's grandson.
Everybody has offspring!
Oh yeah, here's the fun part, right? When they were revealing that this was coming out, they revealed it with the poster of all the adult kids and then the new guys that came out for this thing, like the adult team avatar.
Huh.
And then they revealed the poster of this is the new team avatar for this one. And guess what? You don't get to see the old team avatar as adults too much.
No?
It's just them old and dead.
Some old. We do get to see Katara. I think she's the only one we actually see at this point in time. The rest is all flashback.
I just checked. Lin is Toph's daughter.
Okay, so yeah, that does confirm it. So I'm thinking of Zuko's grandson. But yeah, so we get Korra being under arrest after having a run-in with the Metalbender cops. Tenzin has to come in and be like, all right, fucking, I guess I gotta pull some strings to get her out. So Tenzin gets her out. We get to meet Tenzin's family with his pregnant wife and 3 children. I'm blanking on their names.
I think it's 2 daughters and a son.
Yes, it's 2 daughters and a son, but I don't remember their names. One's name Icky, I think it is, or Aki? Aki? Let me see here. Airbender Kids. I remember the son's name because he's the most obnoxious. Let's see here. What is his family? Where are your... Let's see. Here we go. Janora, Icky, and Milo. So Janora's the older one, Icky's the middle child, and then Milo, who I fucking hate. Because his only thing is, I'm a gross kid. I fart, I poop, and I make jokes of farts and poops.
Like he kind of fart-bended once.
Nice.
Yep. He gets picked up by Lin, and he's like, I gotta poop now, and you just see him shit in his pants. And then looks satisfied about it. And I'm just like...
Did they just show, like, the load? His pants
No. I want to say the pants maybe get a little bit bigger. And I just get very disappointed.
I missed that, and I'm glad I missed that.
I don't like Milo.
Oh!
Like, they make him... What was it? Though at one point, they literally slow him down, and you see, like, the snot flying out of his nose and mouth drool flying around.
But isn't that a little bit of a action trope where, like, boxing anime might do, like, the slow-motion punch?
Yeah, but we're focusing in on a gross character who's throwing around his mucus and drool.
Okay, because I thought, like, the drool was part of, like, a trope of being hit in the face.
Yeah, but he wasn't getting hit.
Oh. Then
he was doing airbending at the time.
Then I must be mistaken.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, what did you think of the 4th kid?
Oh, this is before I read JoJo, so I didn't know if that's a reference or not.
So I don't know if it is, but there is the 4th airbending kid, Rohan.
There's not enough there for me to say it's a reference just because it's a regular name and it's an Asian-styled name.
I know.
I can't say it's a reference without more.
I know that, but when it said, like, oh, his name's Rohan, I just said, I wonder what Briannon thought of that.
Literally, I had forgotten that child's name, and I had to rewind at least 2 or 3 times, and then turn on the captions to make sure I was hearing it right. Like, to me, I was like, if that's a reference, I can't be certain. Because, I mean, like, I'm gonna sit here and be like, it's a name. This is an Asian-inspired thing. JoJo is constantly using Asian names for any cast that's centered in Asia. If this kid starts growing up and does doodles, then maybe we can talk about it being a reference. You know, or if he starts reading people like books. You know, or if he starts posing, he starts doing airbender poses, right? Then we can talk about this being a reference. Until that happens, I'm gonna say no.
Oh, damn it.
If he puts on a sweet checkered hat, maybe we can talk.
But back a few episodes before he
Yeah.
was born.
So we learn about a thing called equalists, which is people that are against benders. And we find out about this big scary guy who wears a mask called Amon, who is the leader.
Who again, going back to voice work, he is voiced by, oh crap, I'm blanking on his name now.
Steve Bloom.
Thank you, Steve Bloom, voice of Spike from Cowboy Bebop.
I believe my exact words for you was, "How you like that evil Spike Spiegel?"
Yes.
He is very intimidating when he plays a villain.
Which I
Does he like?
don't remember Steve Bloom doing villains too often.
No, but like, even though you know immediately it's Steve Bloom, he totally takes that, like, he sounds closest to Toonami Tom, but he's taken it down a few tones. So he sounds like like a deeper version of Tom, and a very sinister one at that. Like, he is a great villain, and I love him as a villain. Even Amon as a character is a great villain. I have no problems with him. He is great. I have one or two issues with the plan he puts in place in this, which I'll bring up a little later, when we get to a certain point. But in the meantime, yeah, he's being big and scary. The equalizers are a threat. Apparently, somebody taught them how to use Ty Lee's ability to just shut down pressure points to turn off bending temporarily. So they all apparently know at least some of those moves. At least when we see like they're like, hey, we're going into action suits. They know that shit. There's also, I think he called him a lieutenant, right? The guy that has like the shock batons.
Yes.
Yeah, he shows up a few times. He's got some goggles on. He's got this really nice mustache. And he's got big old shock batons with an electrical battery backpack that charges them. So he comes in a few times to have some fights. Korra, at a certain point, gets drafted into, like, the task force that's trying to shut down Amon's stuff.
And she's like, I can't do this. I need to enter the tournament arc with my friends.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing we learned about, is pro bending, which is a sport in which three benders, water, earth, and fire, go at each other in a whole, like, game setup of, like, how do I want to put this? You get set up into, like, think of it like a football field, right? You got 3 zones, right? You're like 30-yard, 40-yard, 50-yard line, for instance, right? If you manage to push an opponent back, that opponent is locked into that zone, right?
Yeah.
They can't move forward or backward out of it. If they move forward, we'll get a like the referee will call them on it. They'll get pushed back of zone. If they step back too far and get into the other zone, they'll have to go back that zone.
Okay.
And the goal of which is to essentially push the enemy off the edge of the back, which opens up into water underneath the stadium. It's a fancy version of bending and sumo wrestling almost.
Oh shit.
And it's real interesting because we start learning that the more modern versions of bending are not quite what they used to be. Whereas Korra learned a lot of like the old-fashioned, like, original bending stances and movements. It's too slow for this. So when she gets involved in this, she's learning like how to do like quick jabs and uppercuts and stuff like you would see at, say, on a street fight.
Yeah.
So I found originally I wasn't a big fan of like this. Coming back to it, I can see the reason why you would want to do this and why it makes sense. It works. It's fine. The reason she ends up getting into it is because one of the teams, the Fire Ferrets, loses one of their members. Their member quits. We don't know why. We never see that character again. He's just fucking tired, I guess, of the other two. Korra steps in, starts just taking over as the waterbender of the team. We're going to the finals. Fuck everyone else. They don't matter.
And the main reason she stays because she thinks the team leader is hot.
Oh yeah, by the way, there's a love triangle / rectangle in this. It's a weird fucking shape.
It's
and
weird,
it's
dude.
not fun.
No.
I think because it becomes such a core part of the story, unlike the will they won't they of Katara and Aang in the original, which wasn't played as such a centerpiece, I think this makes it worse.
Kind of.
And that's not the least to say that, like, my man Bolin gets, like, fucking kicked in the dick how many times.
I kind of felt bad for him.
Oh yeah, I feel horrible for Bolin, because he's actually the most likable character out of all of them.
He's the comic relief of the team.
Yeah, but he's a good comic relief.
Yes, very good.
Like, I'm not even gonna front. He is my favorite character out of the main quote unquote new team Avatar. Like, even Korra, I don't give a shit about you. Give me Bolin. I just want to hang out with this guy. He seems awesome.
He knows all the best waterbender food.
Like, he's a bit naive, but otherwise he's super cool. I would love to hang out with him. I'd love to sit down and have a fucking beer with the dude. He's great.
Or bowl of noodles. Or both.
Or whatever. Look, man, we'll have seaweed noodles. It's fine. So yeah, there's that. Bolin tries to date Korra. Korra kind of turns him down. In the end, the whole thing with Mako, who is named after the late Mako, who played Iroh in the original series, goes south. He dates another girl, and then there's some bullshit between. I'm not gonna get into it because it's kind of exactly what you would expect out of like a love triangle situation. So we go through that whole tournament arc thing. Some stuff gets built up in the background with Amon and such. Korra tries to take her on at one point. Like calls him out, be like, "Hey, meet me at Avatar Egg Island, at midnight o'clock. Be there or you're a fucking coward." And everyone's like, "We can't talk her out of it. We'll keep watch," which, fuck me, they do a terrible job of that. She gets knocked out. Amon shows up. He's got all his buddies around him, so how the fuck they all got there, I have no idea.
Stealth bending.
Belf.
Is there a sewer entrance there, maybe? But even then... Yeah, Korra gets, knocked out, and he's like, "Oh, Avatar, you'll just be a martyr if I do it now. I'll take you when the time is right." Knocks her unconscious, walks away with all his groupies. Again, I assume sewer entrance is the way that they get in and out of there. So, yeah, Korra's all fucking freaked out at this because she nearly lost her bending. Had Amon... here's the thing, right? Here's part of my problem. Had Amon just done it then, he'd have won. Been over.
But villains can be stupid sometimes.
Oh. Yes, they can be, but this character, Amon seems like a character who isn't stupid. I get that he probably wants to, ideally he would have made a big show of it. But yeah.
The episode with Asami's father was interesting.
Yes. So the other girl that shows up is Asami. She is the daughter of the man who invents the quote-unquote Sato-mobile. Dude's last name is Sato, therefore it is not automobile, it is Sato-mobile. He's the Model T Ford man. Some shit goes down. He's working for Amon. Apparently, we also find out the Cabbage Merchant had some children who has Cabbage Corp, which is basically the Apple of that universe,
Cabbage
from
Corp.
what I understand.
My Cabbage Corp!
Yep, it basically, the way they put it, because it's only given to you in a few lines, it basically seems like it's the Apple of this universe, because it's a technology thing. Doesn't actually sell cabbages, sadly.
Aww. Isn't their logo a cabbage?
I'm pretty sure it is, but I don't remember seeing it. At least not in this season. You will get to see, I believe in season 2, a giant statue of the Cabbage Merchant as, the original person who created the Cabbage Corp.
Yes.
So we find out that through some bullshit means that apparently Asami, her father, is in league with Amon. They start looking into him. He starts pushing back. Shit gets real to the point of like, yeah, no, we need to investigate this motherfucker. And oh, hey, look, we're using the whole you can sense things with your bare feet if you know what you're doing as an earthbender. Which, by the way, for whatever reason, it's not used in combat. It's only used as like a literal sensor option to look for something, which I found a little annoying.
There's a hidden door 50 meters west.
Yeah, there's a hidden door, and there is a tunnel in here that leads directly into the mountains, like 50 kilometers or something like that. They get in, secret underground factory, where they've apparently created Big Daddies from goddamn fucking Bioshock. Or at least Big Daddy suits.
And that's one of the things I didn't like. I'm like, okay, cars, that is somewhat understandable, but not mech suits.
So, see, this is where I disagree with you. I like the mech suits. In fact, to me, this seemed like a way more obvious way to take the Fire Nation technology from the first one and apply it to a more technologically advanced thing. I can see this being a thing.
Maybe, but I think mech suits are way too futuristic for something in the 1920s.
Yes, but the problem that this is where I'm at, though. We're in a fantasy world. That's where I'm sitting at. Don't give me the mundane. Give me something more believable that's more fantastical, right? We had a fucking giant drill that was boring its way through a giant wall in the first series.
Okay, I can kind of see where you're coming at.
You can shrink that technology down and make it a mech suit for a single person. And by mech suit, I mean it doesn't have legs. It drives on wheels and treads. But it does have movable arms. Now, if you want to make the argument of, hey, it seemed a bit too durable, that I can agree with. We can nitpick that part. Especially to, like, fucking, like, earthbending, throwing giant boulders at it.
Yeah.
Seems a bit too durable to me for that. Or, you know, firebending not melting key aspects of it. But, like, the design itself, I can totally see working and being something that was iterated from that original technology. But yeah, we get to see that. There's a point where shit starts going south real quick. Most of the council, other than Tenzin, gets captured. Oh no, I'm going too far ahead. I'm sorry. Korra jumps after, what was his name? Tarlock? Tarlock. Who is a member of the council who has kind of been forcing and coercing her into being part of his task force this whole time.
He's kind of a dick.
Oh, he's a very big dick. And we find out he's a bloodbender.
Oh, man. Those are like the coolest ones to me.
And he doesn't need a full moon to use it. Which up until this point was something that needed to happen. You were going to say something, Brandon? Kind of pausing here for you.
Yeah, but I just found, and I forget exactly what I was going to say at the time, but yeah, like, just the fact that he's, like, hiding the fact that he's a bloodbender, which is, like, one of the most evil type of benders.
I would argue that while the actual bending itself is fucked up, it's something that could be used for good. Again, in this case, it's a tool.
Like doctors?
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Oh.
A doctor could totally use that in a way, probably in some way. Now, Tenzin takes Korra and essentially locks her away because she's not helping him and he's fucking tired of her shit. She is purposely getting in his way because he actually arrested her friends prior to this, which is what really got under her skin, because they were trying to help non-benders who were just out in the street because, you know, the task force shut down their electricity and they were very upset about that. So, you know, they were calling it, oh, this is a fucking mob. They're trying to come out here and, you know, they're out past the curfew that we put in place. It's like, well, yeah, you shut down their electricity. No shit. So her buddies get arrested. She goes into Tarlock. Tarlock captures her. The chief of police, who has now been swayed to work with the Avatar, has been like, all right, I'm going to fucking break you guys out. We're going to go figure out what's going on. Tenzin, as well as Lin and the others, all go after like what they think is Amon's sewer hideout, thinking that's where Korra is, only to find out she's not there.
Because Tarlock was like, "Oh no, the Equalist kidnapped Korra."
Yep, that was his whole thing. That was his bait and swap switch. Blame equalists, easy target. Amon, in the meantime, breaks into Tarlock's place after he's been found out to be lying. And his plan originally was to take Korra and start a new life again, take Korra as a hostage. Didn't work, because here's Amon. Amon versus Tarlock does not go well, because apparently Amon's unaffected, really, by Tarlock's bloodbending.
Somehow.
And then Amon takes away Tarlock's bending altogether.
Hmm.
And then he tells his underlings, make sure you get the Avatar and don't take her lightly. He's like, make sure you shock the cage that she's in, so that way she can't, she'll be unconscious. You can take her. Doesn't work out, because the way that we get out of this is that Korra uses her wristband to loop around like the metal grate at the top of the cage and just hang from that. So while everything's getting electrocuted, that armband is kind of insulating her from being shocked as she hangs from it and doesn't touch the metal itself.
Okay.
So when they open the door, she breaks out, runs into Amon outside the cabin, and then runs down the mountain, managing to escape from him by sliding down the hill. Down the mountain, I should say. Eventually, she meets back up with the others. They share the information that they have, and then we start going into the end game of all the council members have gotten captured outside of Tenzin. We have them infiltrating Amon's Equalist rally after his entire army comes in blimps and starts overtaking the city, as well as like the Airbender Island. Literally everything gets taken over by the Equalists.
And just one thing, Ryan, do you want to take a guess on how Amon is unaffected by bloodbending?
Is he like made of stone or something? Or like some kind of... Or like metal?
You know...
Or oil for blood or something like that? I don't know.
You know, what would have been interesting, and this is just an idea, but because of what Orion said, it jumps into my head. What if somebody was able to create essentially like a stone clone? Right?
Oh!
You create a stone golem that you control via like earthbending, and that's what was dressed up as Amon?
Ooh!
That would be super interesting.
Ooh! Yes! Oh my god, that would be so cool!
Or fuck it. I mean, this wouldn't make sense given, what we, given Tarlock trying to use water bending or blood bending in this case, but like how we saw the swamp benders bend water and plants, right? Like you have one of those things, because that moved around pretty damn smooth.
Was it like a seaweed elemental?
I mean, he was bending all the water inside the giant seaweed monster that he surrounded himself with.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just the plants. I forgot he had, like, seaweed armor.
No, he was in the core of that thing.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. Like, I did not know he was inside. I thought he was outside.
No, but I'm sure he could probably do it from the outside with enough practice.
So, Orion just invented new unofficial Avatar lore.
Well, new Avatar ideas. So yeah, shit starts going down. Amon's taking over. He's like, I'm gonna go ahead and just like erase everyone's bending, and you just see him taking people one at a time for a minute. All like the metal bender police getting their bending taken away with a giant line from where he's doing it.
Next person, be forced forward. Take your bending.
Yep, you have been purged. Eventually, he makes a big show of bringing in Tenzin and the others, who apparently he's captured the Avatar, not the Avatar, the airbending kids and Tenzin, who we thought had gotten away. Meanwhile, Korra is infiltrating their camp with knowledge that she has attained from Tarlock, who she found imprisoned. Turns out, Amon is in fact Tarlock's brother, and they are the children of what was essentially a mafia boss who used to be in Republic City until Aang took away his bending back in the day.
Because Tarlok and Amon's father was a bloodbender who
Mm-hmm.
could somehow bloodbend without the power of the full moon.
Or moving his arms.
Which confused me. It's like, I would like to know how he got that power.
I mean, we did see Sparky Boom Man.
Who can use firebending with his mind?
Not only that, he causes specifically explosions to happen, not just fire.
Well, isn't that what adult Sokka said? Like, I met
Yep.
a firebender who could firebend with his mind.
Yep. Which, hey, to me, that right there connects pretty damn hard with what Yakone was doing there. Now, do you want to explain to me why, even though he had like the all of the earthbending around his arms and he was trapped, why he couldn't still do it to Aang at the time? Now, I mean, you could argue, I guess, that because he's in the Avatar state, shit didn't matter.
Avatar state is so OP.
Uh-huh. Especially when you actually have control over the damn thing.
Yes! And especially when you had like 30, 40 years of practice using it.
Oh yeah. On top of that. But yeah, shit starts getting real. I should also point out that we get to meet General Iroh, leader of the the Alliance Navy? Or Armada or something like that.
I did not like his voice actor.
Yeah, it's just fucking Zuko again.
The same person doing the same voice.
If you want to bring him back in, be my guest. You want to make him Zuko's grandson, be my guest. Make him do a different voice.
I know some people would like that because they're like, oh, yay, Zuko's back. But now it's like, no.
Well, here's the thing, right? We get to find out that apparently there are fucking airplanes too that were made, like biplanes. Which let me ask this for the because this is done apparently in secret by the Equalists. To which my first question is, where the fuck were they testing those? How did these people learn how to fly these? Because somebody would have reported this.
Good point.
It's one of those moments where I'm just taken out of it because I take a second to think about it, and it's like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Somebody would have seen this.
And didn't they also have like submarines too?
No. They had not landmines, but like water mines.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the underwater mines were in there.
And did they have torpedoes?
I'm not sure if they were specifically torpedoes, because they were dropping bombs from the planes. I don't know if that's just the way that they were landing, that it made it look like a torpedo,
Okay.
or if it was actually a torpedo.
That's why I thought they were subs, because of the possible torpedo.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just the way that, like, because you're flying and the angle that the bomb falls at, if it hits the water, it's not going to drop flat. It's going to keep moving forward too. I don't know if they were designed to be torpedoes or not. I'm leaning toward no, but I could be wrong. But yeah, like there's a point where like you see him firebending and shit, and then an explosion happens that knocks Iroh off of like the firebending tower he was on, firing at the planes. And like, is he gonna get a scar on his eye? Because it would not have shocked me, given that they gave him the same goddamn voice.
Yeah.
Like, are we just making Zuko again? But no, they all get captured and they get put away into a cell at one point. No, I'm sorry, that doesn't happen quite yet. That happens later when they try to get in and stop Sato later. They get zapped by the fucking fence because they're too stupid to realize, oh hey, there's a bunch of poles here. Maybe we should look at them because it looks real fishy.
Yeah, it's like, where's the fence? Oh, electric fence.
Yep. Then they get captured. And here's the other thing that pisses me off, because, like, we get taught basic things about bending in the first season. Why are none of them bending with their mouths? Like, remember when we had that whole thing during the end of season 1 with Zuko's breath of fire?
Yeah.
And being able to, like, breathe fire? Why couldn't Iroh do that? He was left completely ungagged, and as soon as they were untied, they were able to bend again.
Yeah.
Seems like that was a pretty basic technique at the time.
Especially if your great-grandfather invented it.
I think it was a little further back than that, because I think that was something, at the very minimum, that was something the original Iroh was teaching Zuko. I don't know if he invented that one specifically, but it was him that taught it to Zuko at first.
Hmm.
I mean, we've seen, like, Boomy back in the original who was able to just, like, lift his chin up and earthbend that way. Now, do I expect Bolin to do that? Nah. Do I expect Mako to be able to breathe fire out of his mouth? Kinda, yeah. Seems pretty basic.
I thought they did at one point.
Oh, wasn't there was also, oh my fucking god, I hate this one. This one really bugged me. There was that one point where fucking what was it? One of the little mechas shot out like a whip or something, like a metal whip, and electrocuted Mako with it, right? Because Mako grabbed it.
Couldn't Mako electric band?
He could. However, don't we remember learning that one of the most dangerous techniques was redirecting the lightning, which he just kind of does?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super dangerous to do that. That's what we learned. And yet, he was just able to do it like it was nothing. Like, all he did, took him was a little bit of focus, and oh, there we go, done. I'm sorry, I'm pointing things out that are kind of irritating because we have the original to look at, and the shit that we're being shown in this doesn't add up to that.
Maybe since I'm not a huge fan of the original as much as you are, these inconsistencies don't matter to me as much, but I can see where you're coming from.
It irritates me. Again, they're nitpicks, but they're irritating nitpicks. Anyway, we get into the point. They get out of their thing. We're infiltrating the rally. Amon gets called out for his bullshit. He rips off his mask and reveals, nope, what I've been telling you the whole time, that I am a person who was attacked by a firebender and lost my family to him, is completely true. Look at my face. It's scarred like I told you. Right?
Oh, the Avatar is a liar! Get her!
So here's my one thing, right, about that. Because later it's revealed that that's not true. He's in fact wearing makeup to make it look like he was scarred. I'm kind of disappointed that he wouldn't have gone through the effort of burning himself to make it true, considering how far he was willing to go with everything else.
Huh.
Kind of surprises me that he, considering the way and what he's willing to do, he wouldn't have gone that far. It wouldn't have even had to have been as big as he made it look. It could have just been similar to Zuko's, or it could have been, just like a big cheek scar.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have had to been the full face. Anyway, Korra breaks down with Mako. They break out the airbenders and let them out. They start running away. The airbenders get away. Amon chases down Korra, who's acting as a distraction. Ends up taking away her bending. And then he's about to take away Mako's bending. And suddenly, because everything else is gone, Korra's able to airbend.
I was like, what's going on? How can she airbend when he took away her ability to bend?
The argument, I think, would be that because the airbending was locked, it wasn't available to take away.
That makes sense.
I think that is the argument. It was already locked internally, whereas all the others were open. And by taking away the other three, it opened up enough space, or however you want to look at it. It made an opening for the airbending. So yeah, she uses airbending, pushes literally Amon out a window into the bay, and he uses waterbending to like pull himself back out, but does so in the middle of a crowd. And because of the water, the makeup making himself look like he had a scar is gone.
Oh, the Avatar was right! Amon is the liar!
Man, here's one of my other problems with this. How does this clear up any of the anti-bending sentiment? Just because your figurehead was a liar doesn't mean someone else won't take his place that's real.
But they might be a liar too! We shouldn't listen to any more anti-benders!
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, you haven't gotten rid of the problem. It's still there.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, Amon escapes. grabs Tarlok from the prison that he had him in, the little locked up area, and they're like, "Look, brother, come with me. You're the only one I have left. We can start anew again." And it's like, cool. They go out on a boat. Amon's got like the boat loaded with some of the chi blocker gear and stuff, including what we have failed to mention so far was like an electrical shock glove. Tarlok unscrews the gas tank, uses the electrical shock glove to blow them both up.
Murder-suicide for justice.
Yeah, maybe. Just took how long for Tarlok to realize what he was doing. In the meantime, Korra gets brought back to Katara in the Southern Water Tribe. Katara can't find a way to bring back her bending, which I find strange considering Katara knows blood bending as well. Kind of strange to me that she wouldn't be able to figure out, if nothing else, figure out how it was done.
Yeah.
Then Korra runs off, all upset, even though Mako's trying to be like, "I love you, Korra, you're the best." Also, kind of leaving Asami just fucked over in a corner at the end of this, because that never gets resolved.
Poor Asami.
And then we realize that because of all the loss, apparently Korra has now become much more spiritual and is now able to contact her previous life in the form of Aang, who triggers, I guess, the energy bending inside of her in order to re-unlock her bending. And she then uses those to start fixing everyone who had lost it. Woo, everything's better except for the things that aren't.
And what was your biggest gripe that you were mentioning earlier? Because that's basically the end of the season.
The Avatar state.
Oh.
Now, let me know, what do you remember of what the Avatar state is meant to do?
Glowing eyes, contact your... No, wait, it's not contact your previous life because...
Nope, that is a separate thing.
Control all 4 elements simultaneously.
No, you can do that even without Avatar state.
Oh. Then I am blanking.
So, the original, from the first series, the original stated thing that the Avatar state is something that is meant to protect the Avatar. It happens when the Avatar is either in a very life-threatening situation or extreme emotional distress. And it is when it channels all of the prior knowledge and essentially brings all of the souls of the prior avatars into the vessel at the same time.
Yeah, she wasn't in grave danger when she used it.
There was plenty of grave danger and plenty of emotional and mental distress. That second one specifically, a lot.
But she didn't enter Avatar state.
Now, the one line that's supposed to wave that all away is, well, Korra's not spiritual, which I call bullshit on.
And she didn't learn airbending at that point, or she didn't master airbending. So, how could she enter the Avatar state?
Doesn't matter. Aang was entering it, remember? In the 3rd episode when he sees his dead monk Gyatso. And, learned any of the other endings at that point. Didn't matter. Doesn't matter if you don't know it yet, or haven't learned it yet.
And he entered Avatar state to freeze himself in the iceberg.
Also that. It is a fail-safe mechanism meant to protect the Avatar in those situations. I don't give a shit if you're not spiritual. What is the point of the Avatar state when it is directly stated to be a self-defense mechanism that activates regardless of what the Avatar wants? If you're not spiritual, man, that makes this a hell of a lot weaker than what it probably should be to protect you.
Oh. Well, that was Legend of Korra!
It is my biggest problem with the first season, is that Avatar state is just fucking not used when it should be. You don't have to kill fucking Amon, right? It could literally have been used just to escape. The fact that it isn't used until the very end and the excuse is, well, you're not spiritual, Korra, is, to me, such horseshit because of the fact that we see it used constantly in the first series against Aang's will and purposely stated to be that self-defense mechanism during those extreme emotional distress or emotional or mental distress or life-threatening situations, right? Heck, when she's being blood bent by Tarlok, you'd think that would trigger something. When she's sitting there helpless, stuck with Amon at Avatar Aang Island or whatever, or Monument Island or whatever it was called, helpless, you'd think that trigger, because you can see she's freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Even though she can't move, like physically.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it's very dumb. It's the biggest inconsistency and the most infuriating one to me. Because it doesn't make sense. I remember I even argued with friends of mine about this when this was airing, of like even when it ended. I'm like, there were plenty of times based on the text and the dialogue given to us on the previous series that this should have triggered, spiritual or not. She can't go into it willingly? Fine. That makes sense when you're not spiritual, right?
Yeah.
As an auto-activated defense? Fuck off, you're not spiritual. That's not good enough. That's not a good enough excuse.
Yeah, that is a pretty big plot hole.
It's my biggest problem with season 1.
And,
Everything else is nitpicks. That one I feel like is a core problem.
and maybe because I only picked up Last Airbender, like, when we reviewed it, and I'm not the hugest fan, I don't think that's much of a nitpick, but now that you're explaining it, I'm like, that is a pretty big problem.
Yeah. That's Legend of Korra, guys!
So, you probably won't get into this, Ryan, but we will be covering the other seasons like we did with Avatar within the next year. Sprinkle
Alright.
throughout.
Yeah. As I complain and bitch and moan, probably. Well, for season 2 for sure. I can't speak for 3 and 4.
Yeah, from what you said about 2, I am looking forward to how bad it will be.
Look, everyone complains about season 2, and I think the vast majority of people agree it is the worst season. And I don't know if they'll agree as to why I think it's the worst season, but I think they will understand why I have the problems I do.
So, I guess that does it for this episode, and come back and join us next time when Orion might be happy because, we'll be covering an anime about a pervert for hire.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man.
Yes. Later.
Alright.
See you.